So I'm very pleased that we've had an opportunity to meet face to face and to start a discussion on issues. Gonzalez Laya, when she made the remarks that she made in the Mancomunidad to you and to other colleagues from the JIB and Campo Media, was very clear about what Spain's objective is in the context of their part of the negotiation. They want to see a win-win for the region. They want to see an area of shared prosperity. I've been very clear also since Brexit happened in 2016 that what we want to see the arrangements be in the future are as close as possible to what our relationship with the European Union is today in order to deliver that continued, we say, shared prosperity that Gibraltar creates as an economic engine for the whole region. You don't do a deal with anyone unless they think they've won something and you think you've won something. As long as the issues that are on the table for us to try and ensure we negotiate at the right deal for each of us are not issues which relate to sovereignty, jurisdiction or control, which are the key issues which across the political parties and across the generations in Gibraltar we've all sought to defend. I think aiming to deliver something which is a win-win for all sides is exactly what we should all be trying to achieve to deliver a good economic solution going forward. And remember that we're talking about the European Union. The European Union used to be called the European Economic Community because it is really a club of trading nations trading inter se. And therefore that economic win-win would be, I think, a way forward which all of us would find positive.
The Minister, I thought, chose a strange place to deliver a message to the UK government, a visit to the Campo and asking it to sort of step up on the negotiations. Why do you think the UK government is taking so long?
The statements from the Foreign Minister of Spain yesterday were not too different to the statements from the chief negotiator Michel Barnier also yesterday after the end of the intensive round, which ended at about lunchtime in the United Kingdom. This was an intensive round agreed by the Commission President von der Leyen and United Kingdom Prime Minister Boris Johnson.
So an orchestrated line, perhaps?
So look, I think that's exactly the point I was going to make to you. I think that the 27 are sticking together. The 27 are standing by their negotiator. They're sending a message, at least over the airwaves, which is unified to the United Kingdom. It may be slightly more fractured behind the airwaves. United Kingdom diplomacy will no doubt be seeking to ensure that they get a very clear message to the 27 also about why the United Kingdom feels unable to move more in the context of the wider EU-UK negotiations. I think that the way that Ms. Gonzalez Laya expressed it to you, to your colleagues in the Campo press, and therefore more widely, is very clear in the view, in the context of the view that Spain is putting on the table. I will tell you from the point of view of the government of Gibraltar that we don't want to end up negotiating on the 30th of December this year, not least because, as I told you during the course of the Direct Democracy programme this week, I see a worrying and dangerous confluence in coming months of a resurgence of COVID and the Brexit negotiations, and I don't want these already difficult negotiations to be made even more difficult by the return of the pandemic to any of the relevant European capitals where we may be negotiating. So I think it's right to strike whilst the iron is hot and trying to agree as much as possible, as quickly as possible, and not least also because we need to give certainty to business, we need to give certainty to citizens about what their rights are going to be after the 31st of December at the end of the transition period.
Well, you say that at the end of the day, it's the Gibraltar government who will be really looking out for Gibraltar in the negotiations. But I imagine that more important than ever that you are working together with the UK government, that you are on the same page.
The government of the United Kingdom and the government of Gibraltar are moving in absolute lockstep. I mean, we're working very closely together in the context of what it is that we would want to see emerge from these negotiations. We want to work as one UK family to emerge from this negotiation with a deal that works for the United Kingdom and for Gibraltar, as has been the case expressed by successive now Prime Ministers of the United Kingdom, from Theresa May to Boris Johnson. And I think that working together with the United Kingdom is what puts Gibraltar in the strongest possible position as we move forward. But we do understand, of course, in Gibraltar, because we've made the point repeatedly over successive administrations, that we are a different negotiating team. We are the ones really looking out for Gibraltar. The United Kingdom team is looking out for Gibraltar and the United Kingdom. That's a big and the United Kingdom there is a much larger entity. We would never resolve an issue on the basis of thinking, well, if it's only 30,000 versus 60 million, the 30,000 are going to have to suffer. We'll make sure that those sorts of compromises aren't made. That's my job. That's what I'm elected to do. That's what my team are committed to. And that's what you would expect the Chief Minister of Gibraltar to do in the context of this negotiation.
Well, the opposition party in Spain not happy with the meeting, saying it's a historical error. They say it's crossed red lines and blurred the UK's role as interlocutor.
Well, look, the Spanish opposition today is the Partido Popular that, when in government, undid the good work that had been done by former Spanish Foreign Minister Moratinos in the context of the trilateral, undid the political arrangements that were agreed at Cordoba, which saw and still see Gibraltar and the United Kingdom complying with the arrangements in the context of the airport and pensions being paid even today at uprated rates, as the UK committed to do in the context of Cordoba and Gibraltar committed to do in the context of Cordoba. So I think that if you make an assessment of the approach that has been taken by successive socialist governments and successive Partido Popular administrations or politicians, and if you were making that assessment from a Spanish point of view rather than a Gibraltar point of view, well, you might think the socialists haven't always got it right, but at least they've got some advantages for some Spanish citizens when they have worked with Gibraltar. The frontier was opened by a socialist administration. The arrangements in respect of the pensioners, the potential arrangements in relation to the airport, other such arrangements, not perfect for Gibraltar, but let's look at this from a Spanish point of view. Those were steps forward for Spanish citizens in some way. Partido Popular, lots of rhetoric, lots of great sounding statements about how great Spain is and how all of us have to genuflect to Spain's claim. Achievements, zero. What have they done in the time of Moratinos and Matutes and others? Push the Gibraltarians away. A very good thing from the point of view of those of us who believe that Gibraltar should never succumb to a Spanish claim, because they've reminded people of the most rancid way in which the Spanish claim is manifest against the wishes of the people of Gibraltar and our own democratic, internationally recognized political rights. So I would just say that it may sound very good in the context of the league title for the Spanish right wing between Vox and Partido Popular to say these things about Gibraltar. I don't think it's pragmatically going to assist the citizens of Spain who work in Gibraltar or who work around industries which rely on the economic engine that Gibraltar is and could be in the future, to see that rhetoric once again take hold in the heart of the Spanish government. I'm happy to see an alternative being taken, and look what the political consequences of yesterday's meetings are. I have my own views on. Clearly, some Spanish politicians have expressed their views on. I'll keep my own counsel, because I think the important thing here is to find results at the end of this period of negotiation which work best and foremost, from my point of view, because I'm the one negotiating with the Deputy Chief Minister, the Attorney General and the Financial Secretary for Gibraltar, which work best and foremost for Gibraltar.